Here's a cool little practical exercise for you intermediate to advanced students. This is a very simple concept. It's basically you're just taking the single paradiddle and you're playing a 16th note triplet using the single paradiddle. If you haven't done this kind of thing before, it's going to seem a little trippy because although you're still kind of in that triplet thing, the one thing that's going to throw you off is the accents. Normally, we're playing accents while we're playing triplets. Obviously, when you're playing the single paradiddle, you can attempt to keep the accents the same. I can tell you right now it's going to be very hard. But the whole point of playing the single paradiddle for your triplets is just for variation, orchestration, because your accents are going to be different. It's just a cool way to sort of get into some different ways to orchestrate some of your fills. I'm basically just going to show you how to get started on this, real simple. But let me show you this first off. I'm going to do a 1 bar flip. So I'm going to play 1 bar of just a straight 16th using the single paradiddle, and then I'm going to play a triplet using the same single paradiddle. 1, 2, 3, 4. So like I said before, the one thing that might trip you up is just the accents. If you're so used to playing triplets the same way, you're kind of already conditioned to hearing those triplet type accents. But when you're using a single paradiddle, it's kind of an alternating thing. So that's the one tricky thing. But as soon as you get used to that, which it won't take long, a couple of minutes, you'll be fine. Then you can take this, and as with any other rudiment exercise, if you heard me talk about rudiments before, as applied to the kit, that's only step 1. Step 2 would be to take that rudiment and start to move it around the kit. Generally, I just do this as a cool exercise. And it's a really great way to keep your hands in shape, get you around the drums, because there's basically no rules. Whatever you got on your kit that you can hit, okay, you're going to do this. So that's generally how I like to do it. 1 bar flip, do 1 bar of a straight paradiddle, and then 1 bar of the single paradiddle triplet, 16th note triplet. So I'm going to flip these snares on. Give you this example. I'm going to start out on the snare, I'm going to take it to the toms, and then you'll get an idea of how cool this can be. And then as you're watching and as you're listening, you might get some ideas as to how you might want to use this idea. So, there we go. I'm going to keep the same sort of 4 on the floor with the offbeat hats, just for time's sake, so you can hear what's happening. got a little turned around there towards the end, but that's cool because that's also another good idea to do, is to flip hands. Start with the left hand, start with the right hand, because you want to be able to, if you're going to launch into something like this, you want to be able to get comfortable coming out on either side of the kit. So you can either start with the left hand to begin with, flip it in the middle somewhere, or just practice each one. Start with the left hand, run that for a few minutes, and then start with the right hand. Just make sure you get both hands on the same sort of comfortable level. So as far as practical uses when you're playing, it's a cool little thing to do, you know, if you're playing swing jazz, bebop jazz, whatever. It's probably the most obvious and practical use for something like this is just to plug in a couple of fills using that idea. Single paradiddle, 16th note triplet. That would be the first sort of way to introduce yourself to it. A good idea is to, you know, try not to get stuck in the whole framework of always starting the fill on beat one. One important thing to do whenever you're trying to orchestrate or you're practicing your orchestrations of fills and stuff is to move it around the bar a little bit. When you take an idea like this and you move it around, in other words, basically just starting on a different beat, that kind of challenges you to get creative, and because a lot of times you're going to have to come up with some kind of way to get yourself out of it. Because you're not sticking within that framework, you're not always going to end on the same hand. So, you know, you can take that idea, you know, start it on beat 2, start it on beat 3, shorten it, lengthen it, take it, hop over a bar line or two or whatever, and just take that idea and move it around the drums. And this is forcing you to get, like I said, creative, and you're going to have to come up with ways to resolve the fill, because it's not always going to end the same way, right? So that example again, I'm going to take it and play it, but this time I'm going to, you know, start the fill in some different spots and just plug in the whole idea of, you know, playing that single paradiddle triplet on the drums, but just starting it in different spots.